What is up, you guys? My name is Roman, and my pronouns are he, him, and his, and may the 4th be with you. Happy Star Wars Day, can you believe it? So, in honor of it being Star Wars Day, I'm going to be doing a tier list ranking video on all 12 Star Wars movies. So, just a few ground rules first. So first of all, I'm going in timeline order, because it's my own list, okay? And I'm strictly relying on movies. I'm not doing TV shows because that's just because then, well, we'd be here all night, and I just I just want to stick to movies. TV shows deserve a list of their own, and second of all, and then third of all, and then and this is all my personal opinion on this. So if you disagree with me on any of these, politely tell me why I'm so wrong in the comments below. You got it? Are we good? Okay. So, starting with episode 1, A Phantom Menace, I'm giving it a B. It's good. I know a lot of people hate on the prequels, and I can totally understand that, but I think I'm this one I'm a defender of. I think it's an overall good story. I like just the overall plot of how it all started and stuff. Well, yeah, how well for the Skywalkers at least, and I know the mention of midichlorians seems a bit weird, but I think it's all right. And Darth Maul is an interesting villain, so I give it points for that. Next up, we got Attack of the Clones. I'm placing it in, I want to say C. It's okay, but but definitely the weakest in the prequel trilogy. I don't know, just cuz it seems like they try to do they try to do some stuff with it, but it's widely considered the weakest because, like, by fans it's widely considered the weakest because the weakest of the one of the weakest of the Star Wars films, particularly because of its cringeworthy dialogue and just like the just like the awkward romance between um Padme and Anakin. I don't know. But yeah, I happen to agree with that. Definitely felt unhinged, if that's the right word. And yeah, just for that it's weak. But and also just like the over reliance on CGI. But however, um it does, with that being said, the clone army is a key point of it, and the Obi-Wan subplot and the Battle of Geonosis was pretty dope, so I give it points for that. So, yeah, C is good. Next up, we got the Clone Wars movie, uh, and I'm placing it in D. I'm not going too harsh on it, but there's a very good reason. It's because this film, well, it basically just, not much happens in this film, to be honest. Like, there is plenty of action in it, but most of the plot just feels like most of it just feels like a filler movie. Like, the only reason this exists was just to introduce the Clone Wars series. Like, this is just a because this is the pilot to the Clone Wars TV series. Yeah, the first episode of the Clone Wars is a movie, and it's not it's not good. It's fine, but I think it's on the weaker side, and it does have a, I guess, I mean, it's kind of cool, and it has a few moments, and it does start the relation between Anakin and Ahsoka, which I think is great. And but yeah, that's great and all, but I don't know. I just found it just like sort of like sort of like a movie where like most of the movie they're just bringing Rhoda the Hutt back to his they're bringing Jabba the Hutt's son back to to him, and but that's still kind of decent. I mean, he does. I mean, Rhoda the Hutt's going to be appearing in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which, by the way, I'm excited for. I don't care what anyone says. But most of this film just felt like filler, and the only reason it exists is probably just as a pilot for the Clone Wars TV series. Next up, we got Revenge of the Sith, and I'm placing it in A. I think it is it is great, the best in the prequel trilogy by far. Fans widely consider it because widely consider why wisely consider it to be the best in the prequel trilogy because its intense action and dark tone and emotional payoff, and I happen to agree. It definitely shows it definitely wraps everything up with a bang, it and it shows you what would happen to everybody, it shows and it shows the fate of Anakin Skywalker most importantly. And and yeah, it's just has really strong overpower a really strong overall story, very powerful. Next up, we got Solo, a Star Wars story. I'm gonna give it a B. Same reason as the Phantom Menace. I think it's very cool, but it's not perfect. I mean, it's a little I don't know. I just feel like there are some parts of it that could have been a lot better, but it's still a or like maybe just like yeah, it's basically I don't really know how to describe it, but there's some parts that just kind of felt like but overall it was it was same as the Phantom Menace, where it's a good setup movie for what's to come, particularly with Han Solo. And I do like how they show him, and I'm glad they showed his origin of him. I'm glad they showed him meeting Chewbacca for the first time, which uh, which I'm like, thank God they did that, because it would have been dumb if they just were already together in the film with no explanation, you know. So I'm glad they show that, where he's like he was turns out Chewbacca was the Wookiee that was going to he was the monster and the trap that he was going to eat Han Solo, but then they became friends. And I think it's pretty cool. And Alden adds I forget how to pronounce his name, but you know, the main actor who plays Han Solo, he's pretty who plays young Han Solo. He was pretty awesome in this, I won't lie. Next up we got Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and I give it an A. Originally, when it came out, I saw this when it came out, and I didn't like it that much. I felt like it was a little too long and kind of underwhelming, but in the recent years with Andor, I rewatched it, and like after I finished Andor, I went back and watched Rogue One, and I loved it. I think it is great for what it is, for what it's worth, and it's such a brilliant cast, I think, and um, the characters are great, and just shows you how it's definitely it's a good heist movie. Shows you how properly shows you how the plans to destroy the Death Star were stolen, and I just like it for that. I like me a good heist movie, and it's like a heist. It's like a heist, the heist genre, but in Star Wars, and that's cool. And it does have an amazing ending, and I love the ending of it, where it connects it to the original Star Wars, now known as A New Hope, but where yeah, just show they just like I mean, I will admit the CGI on Princess Leia and uh Grand Moff Tarkin does look a little choppy at times, but still I think it's a great movie, and I love the ending. It definitely sets it up, and yeah, so that's why I like it. I love it. Next up, we got Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope. I think we all know where this is going. S tier. It's the best. I think the. While I do think the prequel trilogy is better than the sequel trilogy, I think the best trilogy in Star Wars has to be the original. Because come on, it's the classic. It's how it all started. I mean, it's definitely an amazing movie for what it is. It's a time. It just it has a good story, and just like the effects are still holding up. The effects still hold up. Well, even though I've only seen the 1997 edit with the CGI and stuff. That's the only version available for me to watch. But oh well. But I can look past that. It is it's a timeless classic. Next up, we got The Empire Strikes Back, and in. I'm placing it in B. No, sorry, A. It's it's great. I mean, it's nowhere near as powerful as the first movie, but I like the overall movie, and it is a little weird when Luke and Leia, kiss in that way, because we later find out that they're siblings, but but I can look past that, and it's a great movie for what it's worth, and I think it has a great dynamic between Luke and Yoda, and um, it makes perfect and it just makes perfect sense, and it's very and I also like the Battle of Hoth at the beginning. That was pretty cool, and yeah, that's why I like it. Up next, we have the Return of the Jedi, and I'm placing it in S tier. Definitely brought back some good elements from. It definitely brought back some elements from New Hope, particularly the Death Star, but it also brought back a few. It brought back that wonder, I guess you could say, and it wasn't really that dark, but it's an overall great ending to the original trilogy, and I just love it when Darth Vader just you're just thinking, oh, is he just gonna is he just gonna watch his own son die? But nope, he redeems himself and he throws the Emperor into the reactor, and and that is a very satisfying villain death, and that is one of the most satisfying villain deaths in the history of cinema. And yeah, so I place it up there for that. It's not flawless, but I like past those flaws. And yeah, so um, it's also pretty. It's also pretty cool. Yeah. It's just like a decent ending to the stuff like that, and and again, great satisfying death of the emperor until, well, you know, that comes next. But we'll talk about that later. Until the sequel trilogy when things happen. But yeah, anyways. So up next we got episode 7, The Force Awakens. I'm placing it in B. I think it's the best in the sequel trilogy, but it's kind of a and it's definitely a great start for what's to come, and good setup for the next two movies. But it's not flawless, and it does bring back it does and it does like and it does basically give us another Death Star, only this time it's bigger and it's a planet. Ooh. But yeah, it's still the same plot basically, but I still like it. It's a good start to a trilogy, but who knows what was to come next. Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I'm placing this one in F. It was I think this is by far the worst Star Wars movie I have ever seen. It is just like no, it is just so just cringe and just not watchable. I mean, I've watched it a few times, but I just can't enjoy it, and I I just don't like how they excuse me. I just don't like how they treat Poe in this, Poe Dameron. I don't know, just like you just like I get it. He's just like disobeying orders, but like just I just don't like the way they just like, oh, we're putting him in timeout. Like just I don't like that. But but and then of course Luke and then of course Luke it does bring back Luke Skywalker, but he doesn't want to train Ray, and he's given up. Now I totally get it, understand that. But here's the thing. It was like that the same thing with Yoda. He went to an abandoned planet and gave up on himself with the Jedi, but he still was able, and while he didn't tell Luke he was Yoda or a Jedi, he did still want to help him and train him with the Force. And I think they could have done the same with Luke, but he just lacked it. And while he does eventually stand up for himself and go and face off with his nephew Kylo Ren, um, it just felt kind of rushed. Like it was just like, oh, he was just a hologram the whole time, and then they just take him out of the story like he was nothing. Like what? Like I mean, or not like it was nothing, but like you know what I mean. I think it was just kind of lame that he was just like a hologram, like he was just virtually there. I don't know. It just didn't stick out to me. And then there's the Rise of Skywalker. I'm also placing it in. I guess I'm also placing it in. I give it a D. It's it's the best. No, it's definitely like the it's nowhere near as bad as the Last Jedi, but it's certainly a disaster, and it's just like, I mean, it had some great moments, and it's nowhere near as bad as The Last Jedi, but it really didn't. It really just kind of like, just it was a little lackluster, and just bringing back the Emperor just didn't help. It was just like, and it's just like, somehow he returned, and while they do explain that he's a clone and stuff, that just feels kind of just like rushed, and then and then they also reveal that Snoke was a clone of him, which again, it could have been potential. And that actually, think back to the Last Jedi, they could have used Snoke as a perfect new villain, but they just wasted him. And not to mention, this overall the prequel, no, sorry, the sequel trilogy, it's it it's I find it very unsatisfying, and just ridiculous that they bring back um the original trio, Luke, Han, and Leia, but they never we never see them on screen together at the same time for one last time. They never show that, and that's just lame. Oh, yeah, but yeah, that's what I think. So, yeah, there you have it. All the Star Wars movies are ranked by me, and hope you like this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, possibly share it with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, bye-bye.